Good afternoon and welcome to today's press conference introducing offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead. Please turn your cell phones to vibrate, off, or mute. And we will start with an opening statement from Coach Franklin.
Well, like always, appreciate everybody coming out. We thought this made sense before we get into the bowl game because we wanted the focus to be on the bowl game and not be splitting questions between Georgia, our bowl preparation, and Coach Moorhead. So we thought we'd give you guys an opportunity to spend some time with Coach. Really excited about the opportunity. You know, we probably have had 40 conversations or so over the last couple of weeks, you know, to come up with this decision where we both were very, very comfortable in terms of philosophy, in terms of direction of what we want, you know, the offense to go as well as Penn State. So really appreciate everybody being here. We're fired up about Joe and his family joining our Penn State family. And I'll obviously give Coach Moorhead an opportunity.
Coach Moorhead?
Yes, obviously, you know, very thrilled to be here at Penn State. It's a tremendous opportunity for myself and my family, both professionally and personally, coming back close to home and to be able to contribute to such a tradition-rich program like Penn State and help Coach Franklin and the program, you know, achieve their goals. I'm incredibly, you know, thankful to Coach and Sandy Barber for giving me this opportunity, and you know, look forward to rolling up the sleeves and getting to work.
We will start in the room today. If you can raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you.
Starting in the room this time. I like that. Guess some love.
Joe, I'm wondering if you can fill us in on some of your influences, coaching influences, who you kind of picked the brain of throughout your career, and how did you develop your offensive philosophy through those guys?
You know, really the foundation of our offense, you know, was established when I was at the University of Pittsburgh with Walt Harris as a graduate assistant. And obviously Coach Harris has had tremendous success in college football, both at Pitt and as a coordinator at Ohio State. So a lot of what I learned in the pass game and the run game is based in the West Coast. Left from there to Georgetown, where I had an opportunity to be a coordinator my last year there. Moved on to University of Akron. J.D. Brookhart is a guy that is a you know, noted receiver coach. Had the opportunity to learn from him. He coached Larry Fitzgerald, Lateef Grimm, Antonio Bryant, and those guys. And had the opportunity to become the coordinator there in 07 and 08. And that's kind of where we started developing, you know, a version of the system we're running now. And obviously Coach is very instrumental there in terms of, you know, offensive scheme and things like that. And then moved on to University of Connecticut, where Coach Edsel, you know, learned a lot about, you know, program building and being able to win games, you know, with the intangibles and things like that. So I would consider Coach definitely a strong influence. And then moving to Fordham, where I had an opportunity to be a head coach. And the one guy I didn't talk about was when I was at Pitt as a defensive graduate assistant. Larry Coyer was the defensive coordinator there, and having the opportunity to be on the defensive side of the ball for the year, I think was invaluable in you know, developing as an offensive coach.
Joe, Jordan Rodriguez, Center Daily Times. Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
How much creative freedom do you like to implement with your own playbook? Heard from a couple of your players and your former offensive coordinator that you're a really creative offensive guy. What sort of things do you like to implement in terms of establishing yourself and maybe your calling cards as an offensive coordinator?
You know, I mean, we have a base, you know, offensive system or structure that we believe in. You know, and ultimately, when it comes down to offensive football, it's about putting points on the board, and, you know, specifically one more than the defense allows. But you know, we really want the trademarks of our offense. We want to, you know, dictate the tempo. We want to be aggressive. We want to be attacking. We want to be physical in the run game and create explosive plays in the pass game, and do that while limiting turnovers, being successful on third down, and scoring touchdowns in the red zone. So you know, week to week it's going to change and vary based on, you know, obviously who our personnel is and the type of defense that we're seeing. So you know, I look forward to, you know, getting together with the guys after the bowl season and you know, starting the installation process for the offense.
Hi, Joe. Bob Flounders with Harrisburg Patriot News and Penn Live. James, how are you doing?
Good, buddy.
The question is actually for both of you, starting with you, James. I think you talked at the Big Ten meetings about kind of always having a list in case, you know, things happen in the coaching business, and it's important to have guys in mind. How long has he kind of been on your radar? Is there a relationship there between you before this started? And also, James, when did you kind of know that maybe you were going to make this change, and how difficult was it to let go of John?
Yeah, I think the the second part of your question there, I think you guys know, my personality now after being here a year and a half and how loyal I am to our staff and how close we all are. So probably one of the more difficult things that I ever had to do. Got so much respect for John and his family and what we've been able to achieve together. So yeah, that was not that was not easy at all. It was very, very difficult. I was still kind of working through it, to be honest with you. Me and Joe have kind of, our paths have crossed a number of times. I got a chance to listen to him clinic a year ago and was very, very impressed by his intelligence and how detail-oriented he was. You hear about his background with Walt Harris and the West Coast offense, and you guys know my background on the West Coast offense, so there's some parallels there, some things that, kind of how we both have kind of grown up in the profession. I think those things helped. And then, obviously last year at the bowl game, we practiced at Fordham, and got a chance to spend a little bit of time with Coach there, and his son, who I offered a scholarship to, at practice. And then after that, it was, for me, it was the data. As you mentioned, I have a list at every position, but with the coordinator positions, you want to study data. And although I have feelings and thoughts about what we were looking for, and there's a long list. Obviously, if we could have somebody with Pennsylvania ties, that would be helpful. Not the end-all, be-all, but it'd be helpful. The fact that Coach is from Western PA, the fact that Coach is from Pittsburgh Central Catholic, I think those things help. He's got a lot of connections and networks in the area. The fact that he's been a head coach from a leadership perspective was I think, important. And the fact that he's had a big impact on the program overall. And then at the end of the day, you take all those guys on your list and you run all the data. Third down percentage, scoring offense, red zone, so on and so forth. Every piece of information you possibly could imagine, and you look at consistently who's at the top of almost every single category. And Joe kept jumping to the top 3 or 4 in almost every single category. So. I was just very, very impressed. That's kind of how it kind of evolved, and then we probably had 35 or 40 conversations about everything, about overall offensive philosophy, about Penn State, about our staff, about third down, about red zone, about 2-minute, about everything. He probably was going to tell you a story that we were supposed to interview. We were supposed to interview one day at 6 o'clock, and my flight got delayed and couldn't get in, so we didn't start interviewing until what time was it?
10:15.
Yeah. We started interviewing at 10:15 p.m. and it ended at what time?
2:47 a.m.
2:47 a.m. and could have kept going. Joe will tell you about the cab ride home.
Yeah.
It was an interesting ride. I didn't know if he would still be available after the cab ride. But we've been able to spend a lot of time together in a short period of time. But we've been getting to know each other over some time. And then guys on our staff, Terry Smith, he's had a relationship with Terry Smith for a long time. Bob Shoup, so those things help as well.
I think it's what I talked about a little bit earlier. It's to me the criteria or a successful offense is one that's able to put points on the board, and to be able to do that, you've got to move the football, and have balance both in the run game and the pass game. And usually offenses that are successful are able to generate explosive plays while limiting turnovers. They're able to convert third down successfully to extend drives, and they're able to score touchdowns in the red zone. And I think that's something that we've been able to do in my time as an offensive coordinator, and in the tempo that we play. You hear the term up tempo and fast pace, and that is true. At times we're going to play, as fast as we can play. But to me, being able to play with, different kinds of tempos, where to me it's about getting into the right play as opposed to running the wrong play quickly. So we can run as fast as we need to go, but at the same time we're going to make sure that we're in the best play against the defensive look presented. So I think that's one of the benefits of being a no-huddle offense and having the coaches control, for the most part, what play that we're going to run on particular situation in the game. So I think all those things contribute to our success the past few years.
Hey Joe, Travis Johnson with the
Hi, Travis.
Associated Press. Nice to meet you. Now that you're here, I guess, what do you expect out of the next couple of weeks, be it with the transition phase for you? Will you be primarily advising, consulting? Will you be coaching at this point, do you expect?
No, I'll defer that to the coach, but I'm going to have a very, minimal, no role in the game planning process. To me, it's about, sitting down and getting to meet the kids and, being out of practice and more observing the talent than anything like that, because I don't think it's fair for me right now, not knowing our personnel, not being here the whole year. And I don't think, that's not necessarily something that, I think would benefit, the team. So whatever's best for the team, and Coach and I have had those discussions.
Yeah. The way we have it organized is Coach is going to set up meetings with each returning offensive player so he can sit down, spend 15, 20 minutes concentrating time with each one of our returning players to build a relationship with them, get to know them, talk about the offense and the direction that we're going, and then be able to be out at practice. Watch our guys, be able to have the playbook installation, all those types of things for spring ball ready to go, ready to meet with the staff. So the day after the bowl game, we're able to get going for spring implementation of the playbook for spring ball. So, and then also just to build a relationship with the staff and everybody in our office, help his transition, and then hopefully his family's going to be doing the same thing here pretty soon as well.
Hi, Coach. Jerry Fisher, WBLF Radio.
Hi, Jerry.
Welcome to the area. James, how are you?
Hey, Jerry.
Do you have to be careful when you look at the talent or look at what you have to deal with? You have to be careful not to try to maybe fit a system in where it might not fit in with the personnel, or is that an ongoing evaluation?
I think a successful offense is able to adapt their scheme to the personnel, and that was part of the process as Coach and I, went through it very exhaustively over a couple of weeks. That, the things that I like to do offensively in the scheme that I plan to implement, I think the pieces are in place for us to do that. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of meeting time and a lot of evaluations and a lot of, work until we get to that point. But, certainly an offensive coach's job is to put his players in position to be successful, and a lot of that will be evaluation of talent and, seeing how it fits into what we want to do offensively. But certainly we're not going to fit a square peg into a round hole.
But I would also say too that that's part of the reason why he's here, because me studying what he's been able to do and the style that he's running, I think it fits the personnel that we have right now. We still are going to have some challenges and issues that we're still working through, as you guys are aware of. But I think what he does offensively limits some of those things and will allow us to play to some of our strengths.
Hey Joe, Pat Principe with WGAL TV in Lancaster. James, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good, good. Hey, you've had a chance to work with a pretty good running back in Chase Edmonds the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your work with him and now the opportunity to coach another talented running back in Saquon Barkley?
No, absolutely, and really going back to, University of Akron, we had a tremendous running back by the name of Dennis Kennedy, who did some real good things for us there, and at University of Connecticut, we had two fantastic running backs, Andre Dixon, who had an opportunity in the NFL, and Jordan Toppin, who left early, was a 6th-round draft pick and is with the Steelers now. And then obviously Chase Edmonds is a phenomenal talent, a local kid here, and won the Jerry Rice Award for top player of the year at the FCS level. Was rushed for over 1,500 yards in the last 2 years, and our offense is centered around the ability to run the ball successfully. And if we can do that in a physical manner and move the ball on the ground and displace people off the line of scrimmage, it's going to force defenses to commit numbers to the box via pressure or safety support, and that'll create one-on-one matchups for us on the perimeter. So, for us to be successful as an offense, we're going to have to run the ball well, and certainly that's something that we've done in Chase's. Not only a great player, but a great person, and I was fortunate to be able to coach him for a couple of years because he's got a very bright future.